Hey traders, checking in on the stock market today. It's daytime right now. We're in the middle of a doozy of a thunderstorm. We've got the bulls keeping their control, bigger picture. Today was a very choppy day for me personally. I did not find clarity. There's a lot of volatility in individual names, but today wasn't for me, and that's A-okay because we've got thousands of days that we can trade in, as long as we don't die first. All right, so looking at the S&P 500 futures chart, an all-time high. This is a 12-hour channel that I've been keeping an eye on. Actually, I haven't been keeping an eye on it except for the last day, but some other people have been keeping an eye on it. Either way, every morning, especially after Sunday nights when there's a lot more futures hours of trading, I come to the 4-hour time frame and I look at how are we set up on the 4-hour time frame into the morning. And this morning, the S&P 500 was consolidating in a very healthy manner. It was holding the 4-hour uptrend, and it was holding 4-hour EMA 12. I then looked at the NASDAQ 4-hour chart, looking for a 4-hour high or low, didn't even touch 4-hour EMA 12. There were no red flags whatsoever. So from there, I look at the bigger picture and say, okay, it's entirely possible the bulls control today, and we just set a 4-hour high or low and keep this uptrend going. We don't have bull breaks with follow-through, but we have the higher lows continuing to be maintained. And that is now the most important thing for me. The 4-hour higher lows on these futures charts. So if the S&P 500 futures holds 43.85, the bulls keep their complete control and we look for a higher low compared to that level. And for the NASDAQ, we don't have as convincing a break and its level is 15.055. If we look at it on SPY, held the low of Friday, closed at the high of today, and that is now day number 5 of bounce V-shape all-time high bull move. And on QQQ, daily time frame, right up at the all-time high. Again, not a convincing break, broke it by 40 cents, but it is bulls keeping control. We have not seen any sign of a bear in 5 trading days in a row now. It's a big week for earnings, tech sector earnings. It's going to impact QQQ a lot. We've got Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Tesla just had earnings. There's a lot of earnings this week. We also have the FOMC on Wednesday. This is the kind of week where, fittingly, I did not plan this, I am about to be away for the rest of the week. And this is the kind of week for me to skip because I do not have any aspect of my trading style as playing earnings or playing the FOMC. So it would be a good decision to patiently wait for the dust to settle in response to those fundamental events and come back to start August with a fresh clean slate and hit it from there. So that's what I'm personally going to be doing. So there won't be any more videos from me for the rest of this week, but other team members will be filling in. And I will see you all next week. But for now, we got IWM. We got a daily higher low set at 216.91. The bulls must break 222.22 to confirm the daily trend change. We rejected from that resistance today. It's only going to be short-term game over if we drop down from the rejection and break support of 216.91. That would be a clear lower high and lower low. If that were to take place, it would just be a failed daily trend change. Bulls have to get over 222.22 to change the daily trend, and then we would zoom out and scout a weekly lower high if the bulls were able to pull that off. But clearly, one of the weaker markets that we follow as the NASDAQ and SPY continue to rip higher. The financial sector held a low. We were really weak pre-market. This was a very surprising open for me because we were weak pre-market, set for a gap down open. We then climbed back up right into the bell. We held the low of Friday by 1 penny and we ripped 1% higher in the first 5 minutes. And then that 5-minute candle dictated the range of the entirety of the day. It was a strange day out there for me. And this was one aspect of that. QQQ on the 5-minute time frame was all over the place. And really it was just the rotation going on. So here we had a megaphone to start the morning, but then it just got like, what is going on here? I have no idea. I have no edge, no clarity when that is what's taking place in the short term. So for me personally, I did not feel comfortable today trading. I was watching the morning. I said, okay, drop down first thing. XLF all bulls in the first 5-minute candle. QQQ all bears in the first 5-minute candle. Inverse. They then flipped. QQQ then V-shaped to a new high of the day, and XLF pulled back. It didn't see a new low of the day, so we're not tick for tick inverse. We're inversely trading, but the S&P 500 bulls are favored because XLF held the low of the day while QQQ kept going higher. From there, we were watching rotation because we had V-shaped bounces in big tech and in growth names. And then during this 10 minutes of consolidation, big tech consolidated and growth kept going up. NIO, XBI, ARKK, PLTR, PTON. We had a bullish correlation with QQQ at that point in the morning. And then from that point forward, again, it was just a muddy mess as far as clarity for me, trying to watch, with this going on QQQ, where are funds going? Is growth shaping up or is big tech taking the lead? And again, it was just a mess. And that is A-OK. And recognizing that is extremely important. And the better you are at trading and the more time you put in and the more consistent you are, the easier it is to recognize that feeling. So for me, I don't feel that feeling very often. I feel it, let's just say randomly 10% of the time. I'll feel like I have no idea what's going on. I'm not going to trade. And if I'm a newer trader, I maybe feel that way 70% of the time because trading's new and it's hard. So the more comfortable you get, the more clear these off days are, and the easier it is to respect them and not try and force it. So today I had some small losses and some small wins, and by noon, I could clearly say, nope, this is not my day, and I'll see you tomorrow. XLF, we did. XLV. Some daily consolidation. XLV was the weakest major sector this morning. Daily consolidation starting. Anything above 126.23 is a daily high or low. In a recent video, I said XLV was number 2 holdings in SPY. That has now changed. They updated it, so they're now number 4. And it's cyclicals, financial sector, and healthcare, which bounce around between about 12 and 15% holdings. And so there's a shuffle that goes on between those names. Tech is always at the top by double who number 2 is, which is why this tech sector week of earnings is so important. So we're scouting a daily high or low on XLV. We're watching for an hourly trend change back to the bulls. And any name that has seen a bull move for a week and is now looking for a daily high or low is keeping an eye out for hourly oversold conditions for clues that the daily high or low is being set. Biotech sector, weak growth name. Solid bounce, did not set a daily high or low. So we could still do it, but we retraced the entire bounce. 123.67 is the low. I'm just viewing this as a continued daily downtrend. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Lower high, trying to hold the low. So looking at growth, this week I am watching for growth to try and set weekly higher lows. And for growth to set weekly higher lows, we need a daily trend change. And for daily trend changes to shape up, we need daily higher lows. So I headed into this week scouting growth for daily higher lows. XBI is a weak growth name. Looking at the retracement size of this drop, NIO is a bit stronger, trying to form a daily higher low. PLTR is even stronger, trying to form the daily higher low. And again, just look at the retracement sizes. There's our bounce, there's our retracement. Bulls have a setup here to try and confirm a daily trend change this week. And it's way harder for XBI to do it than PLTR due to the size of the retracement from the top of the bounce. PTON, daily higher low trying to be set. It's positioned stronger than most individual growth names. ARKK, also positioned well. Very brief daily consolidation, potentially a little daily bull flag. And that was another thing going on today. I watched all growth do the same thing. A drop first thing, and then a V-shaped bounce to the high of the day. And then we just started seeing some names holding on fine like NIO and some names like XBI dropping a lot more significantly. So they all started with very similar, if not the same setups in the first 30 to 50 minutes of trading. And then it just started to shift to a point where I couldn't keep track of it. SMH has not topped out yet. Higher low every day for the last 5 days. If the inside bar breaks bear, we scout the daily high or low. We watch for the bulls to try and change the hourly trend back in their favor. And we watch for hourly oversold conditions to scout that daily high or low. Haven't topped out yet. watch the pattern of a higher low every day. Tan, trying for a daily higher low. Bulls need an hourly trend change back in their favor. If we get it, we're then looking back at the high of 87.57, and it's possible to see a tightening daily range. And the FOMC is going to have a notable impact here. If it's a bullish reaction, that's going to help growth names set daily higher lows. If it's a bearish reaction, it's going to make it a lot harder. MSOS, we're tracing back a significant amount of this move. The low is 35.11. Anything under 37.79 is just a lower high. So all these growth names from the daily perspective, we can be looking at these daily resistances and just saying, as long as this level is resistance, bears have complete control. So for PLTR, if 2268 is resistance, bears have complete control of the daily time frame. If that level breaks, it's a confirmed trend change. The VIX, higher open, but gave a lot of that move back. And I'm just viewing this as a base of support, bull move, held support, but just looking for a lower high. And if we drop down and break 16 from here, we'll confirm a daily downtrend, and we'll continue watching the weekly falling wedge, but at that point, we'll be watching for a weekly higher low compared to 1410. The dollar, rising wedge breaking bear, 12-hour is in an equilibrium trying to hold support. So high, low, lower high, and support being tested of 92.50. If 92.50 breaks, the 12-hour downtrend is confirmed, and we then zoom out and look for weekly consolidation, and we'll look for a weekly higher low. If 12-hour support holds, the bulls keep complete control on the dollar daily time frame. And again, even if we break bearish tomorrow, we know the FOMC, we're going to see a significant reaction out of the dollar and out of the metals, and it's really going to be the FOMC reaction that dictates the short-term direction for the metals and the dollar. With the dollar weakness today, gold bulls would have definitely wanted to see a better day than this. We're right above support. We keep breaking it barely with a lack of any follow-through, but it is looking more and more like weekly lower high is being set at 1834, and we have to see the bulls set a weekly higher low compared to 1750 if we're going to try and set up a trend change. And if we get a bearish reaction to the FOMC, that's certainly going to be shaping up. Silver has a weekly bear flag confirmed, and now we're watching for the possibility of a daily bear flag. And again, bullish reaction to FOMC will likely negate the daily bear flag. Bearish reaction will confirm it. Miners trying to negate a daily bear flag. Miners actually stood out fairly strong today. Miners have been leading to the downside a lot recently, and today closed over the high of Friday. And you look at gold's candle on the daily compared to Friday, and not close to closing above the high. So that's a little bit of a decent shift, but I need to see GDX bulls break 33.81, the high of this initial bounce attempt, if we're going to say that the daily bear flag is negated. Oil, hourly had a tightening range today. Oil got really unclear for me. High, big drop, nice bounce, just looking for a lower high. There's our higher low, and there's our loss of clarity. So still holding on just fine on the daily time frame. We did see 4-hour consolidation, but still holding the EMA 12. So I know the bulls are still in short-term control, but as far as clear short-term patterns, I don't have one. Natural gas, all bulls continuing up over $4. 4-hour EMA 12 being tested and still holding. If we lose 4-hour EMA 12, we look for a daily higher low to form with plenty of space for the bulls on that daily higher low. So I don't really have any trade review to go over. Again, very uneventful day. Small winners, small losers, pretty flat on the day overall. I am keeping an eye on Wish. I don't have any exposure in growth names right now. So if growth were to set weekly higher lows, I would want some exposure. So Wish set up an hourly trend change attempt with the low of the day, high of the day, higher low, and into the end of the day, I did grab a small swing position. And my stop's going to be under $9. I'm risking less than a day loser if I stop out. But essentially, a very aggressive attempt for the bulls to try for a daily higher low, to try and set up a weekly higher low. So it didn't close strong. And if we break $9 tomorrow, I will be out of that position. But want some exposure to the setups that are attempting weekly higher lows. At least one attempt. And again, this is not a high conviction trade. This is a trade that I anticipate has a high probability of stopping me out, but the risk is low enough and the reward is high enough relative to the risk that it's worth a stab. If I were struggling, if I were not consistent, if I had red, green days, this is not a kind of trade I would take because that would just keep me stumbling if I take a less than high conviction trade. But if things are going well and it's been a good month and I can be a little bit more aggressive and risk less than a day loser, then that's what I'm doing. So that matters as well. You know, where you are at in your recent trading does determine the kind of trades you want to take to a certain degree. Because again, this is not, you don't want to be taking low probability trades, or I should say high probability of being stopped out trades, even if it's low risk. If you're just going to keep stopping out, it's going to be hard to get a flow going and to get consistency going. So I love small risk attempts at trades, but again, it's coming from a point of having good flow and consistency and not trying to establish flow and consistency with trades that have a high probability of stopping out. If I want to establish flow and consistency, I want trades that have a low probability of stopping me out. It's important to string together some winners, even just psychologically, for your mental confidence if you're trying to get some flow going. All right, I will see you all next week. I hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see how the earnings reactions and FOMC settle in. I'm sure I'll come back with some solid footage. Do good things.